health namaste. I, Anuradha, would like to thank all of you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels. The basic need of a human being is food, clothes, and shelter. So all of us look forward to having a nice, happy home. And many of us look forward to having income from such homes. Yes, many people deal in real estate. People are always wanting to know if they can make any money from real estate also. When is a person capable of making money from real estate is the topic that we're going to talk about on today. We all know Jupiter denotes happiness. So Jupiter, whenever it is associated with a particular house, with a particular sign, with a particular nakshatra, can tell us from where we are going to get happiness. Mars, as such, denotes the earth, or it denotes landed properties because it is also called the Bhumiputra. So it by inheritance feels as if it has the right over the landed properties. And that is why when we talk about landed properties, it is very important to talk and to see where Mars is placed in our chart. If Mars is placed in a person's chart well enough with regard to the fourth house, or if the fourth lord in a person's chart is strong, in that case, a person can enjoy the happiness of home. But extending the principle forward, so that we can also make money out of this landed property. That is, we can invest in landed properties. We can act as a real estate agent. We can act as a property broker. Can only happen if this Mars has a connection with the 10th house, especially that of the D4. Because D4 deals with properties. It deals with many other things. Amongst one of them amongst it is properties. So if the D4 shows a connect of Mars with the 10th house, the 4th house of the Lagna of the D4, then such a person can make money with from landed properties, provided that this Mars is well placed with respect to the 4th house in the D1, or the 4th lord for that matter. Also, if this Mars is showing a Vargotham kind of a situation, or if this Mars is showing a very good affinity to the Lagna also, in that case, a person makes a substantial amount of money from this property. So it's very important for us to check out a few things. The D10 also matters. Your dasha, antardasha will tell you when you're likely to start this business in the real estate. It is also going to tell you what is the time period when you can crack it, or you can make a lot of money out of the market. But generally, if your chart is showing a kind of interest, a chart is showing a promise, then it is easy for you to work on that promise. Jupiter signifies happiness, and Mars signifies landed property. So if there's a combination of Jupiter, Mars also in our chart, then we can, and especially with respect to the divisional chart of D4, in that case, one becomes very happy, one becomes gains happiness and wealth through the landed properties. Now we look up to a few charts. Let us take the chart of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is said to have made a lot of money when the housing bubble broke up or it dissolved, or those things happened. So in Warren Buffett's chart, Mars, which is the lord of the 5th house of sudden money, good money in investments and properties, and in investments and taking risks, taking activities, is placed in the 7th house of business. It is placed with Jupiter, which is the 4th lord. And when we look into his D4 chart, Mars is placed in the 10th house in the D4 chart. Again, the Lagna in both the places is the same. It's a Vargotham Lagna for D4 also. And so it is the Sagittarius Lagna. Mars here is Digbali in the 4th house. It is again the lord of the 5th house of sudden gains from investments, big risks, and equal amount of money and name fame coming from there. And Mars also aspects that house. Apart from it, Mars sitting in the 10th house, being Digbali, aspects the Lagna and also aspects Jupiter, which is again here the fourth lord. So we can safely say, if you read about Warren Buffett, you will come to know that he's had a lot of investments in properties and made good deal of money from the property market. Donald Trump, as we all know, has his hands in a number of properties across the globe, and is known as one of the people who deals and wheels a lot in properties, in restaurants, in resorts, number of things. So here, when we see his chart, his is a Leo Lagna, and he has his Mars sitting, the Yoga Karaka, sitting right there on the Lagna, aspecting the fourth house and moon, which is again the Karaka for the fourth house. As we talk about his D4, again it's a Vargotam Lagna with moon again in the Lagna, the Karaka of the fourth house, with Mars sitting again in the Lagna of the D4, that is a Leo Lagna, and obviously aspecting its own house, the fourth house. Says a lot as to why Donald Trump can earn so much of money from the market. Let's talk about Rekha Ganeshan. When we talk about Rekha Ganeshan, if you read a lot about Rekha Ganeshan as to what her investments have been, she's invested in a number of residential properties, and she has a good steady income from such properties. When we look at it to her chart, it's a Sagittarius Lagna, which is again reflected as the same Lagna in the D4, and Mars is sitting on that Lagna with Rahu. This is an Angarkaya Yoga. Angarkaya Yoga has its own set of pros and cons. But when we're looking at the pros, then wherever Mars sits with a planet, especially Rahu, and Rahu, when it sits with a planet, it kind of blooms the planet's qualities. And Mars, as it is a significator of the fourth house in terms of landed property, aspecting this fourth house. So this Mars brings about a lot of properties for her. And we also see that in her in her D4, we see that Mars is sitting in the 10th house. Again, it's Digbali. It is aspecting the Lagna of the D4 and also the fourth house of the D4, bringing about a lot of money for her. In the D1 for her, Mars is also aspecting the exalted fourth lord Jupiter in the 8th house. So we talk about Rabindranath Tagore. This is an interesting case because Rabindranath Tagore, though was born in a big family, in a very well-known family, he did not actually buy a lot of properties, but he did have properties in which he converted to one of the properties that he converted, Shantiniketan, that was given to him, and he converted it into a big school. So for that also one needs to have a great yoga. Does his chart show anything as such? Was something that should have interested us. And when we look into his chart, we see it's a Pisces Lagna, the D1, and the lord of the fourth house is sitting in one of the Rashis of Mars, and Mars is sitting in the fourth house. There's an exchange between the fourth lord and Mars, and the Mars aspects his 10th house also, being placed with Ketu. In the D10, Mars again is sitting, it's again a Pisces Lagna, Mars again is sitting in the fourth house. And so we can very well state that yes, he did have an inclination to make a big, huge, Shantiniketan is a huge place. So he did end up making a huge institute. The other combinations in his chart, which talk about one having the nature of a student, one having a nurturing mind, a great philosopher and a teacher. So he ended up making an institute over there. And there are such combinations. And before we move forward with a chart of a common man that all of us always want to see, I'd like to say a few things about the placements of Mars and the Nakshatras. So the Nakshatras that one can look forward to is the Nakshatra of Punarvasu. One can see the Nakshatra of Purva Falguni. You can also see the Nakshatra of Dhanishta, Uttarashad, When we talk about a good placement for the landed property, somebody who can have a good home, you can also see the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadra. For people who are interested in good houses, also beautiful houses, Rohini Nakshatra and a Mars combination also goes a long way. Jyeshta Nakshatra shows somebody who's fond of having big palaces. So if Mars is there in its own house in Jyeshta Nakshatra, and if it happens to be the fourth house also for a Leo Lagna, as it is, Leos do things in the big way. And if you have your Mars sitting in that nakshatra in the fourth house, if it is not in the Gandhata, you really know that you want to build a house which is different and which is huge for all it covers. Now, Mars, if it is placed in the Cancer sign, even if it is in debilitation, it has the ability to give huge amount of property to a person. It can give person a an ability to deal in properties. We have this example of a property breaker, and we see that Mars here for him is debilitated, but it is with the 10th lord, and Mars as such in Cancer Nakshatra, Cancer sign, shows property. For the person concerned here, we see that Jupiter is also exalted, so the person would be able to earn a lot from properties. Now, when we look into the person's chart in the D4, would the person be able to make money out of it? Yes, because the fourth lord is being aspected by Mars in the 8th house, and fourth lord also aspects the fourth house. So here there is a strong significance of being able to make money out of property. The fact that it is on the 212-28 axis with the Rahu and Ketu on the same axis. Let's not forget that both Jupiter and Mars in the D4 in this case are exalted. So the person can have to undergo certain problems, but the person would be able to get a good deal from the property as such. So till we meet again, do watch into your charts, do check your D4 and see if Mars gives you the ability to earn from properties, or if it gives you multiple properties, does it give you a chance to enjoy from properties? Do take care of yourself.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.